The sea lion. Powerful, graceful, intelligent. It is the most successful and widely distributed carnivore on the planet. They hunt cooperatively with other predators and dive deeper than once thought possible, surviving depths that would easily kill a human. These kings of the coastline fear nothing in shallow waters and crashing waves. But death is lurking down here, a merciless army that never sleeps. Ghost nets. Few escape their grasp. Those that do are often doomed to months, sometimes years, of a slow and painful death. The netting becomes a knife-like noose cutting through flesh and even bone. This is the story of Ere and Danny, who have been tracking dozens of entangled sea lions for 5 years. They've enlisted an international team of veterinarians and wildlife experts. Over the next 8 days, they will rescue as many as possible. For some, time is running out.
The line, it had a hook here and another one here. Now this little one is just a baby born the last season.
We were able to capture her quickly, but then the entanglement was very embedded in one side. If we didn't capture her this time, I don't think she would have lived another year.
What Danny is doing is something that very few people can do, at least in Mexico. For me, she's the best veterinarian in the world.
Humans create this problem. It's our duty to fix it.
We haven't lost any animals yet, and we are very thankful for that and proud.
Ariel is free!
Sea lion surveys require a keen eye. Correctly identifying the age and sex of animals partially hidden in the rocks or darting through the water isn't easy. Veterinarian Danny Barcenas de la Cruz is a pro and the most experienced sea lion surgeon in Mexico. She's hoping to spot Frida, a mature female who has been entangled for more than 2 years. If they don't capture her soon, she won't see another.
We named her Frida after the famous Mexican artist Frida Kahlo. She suffered from terrible pain and injuries her whole life. If we can capture our Frida, I think we can save her.
Smaller with a scar too.
Heartbroken by the increasing numbers of entangled animals showing up in these waters, filmmaker Ere Valle founded Rescate de Lobos Marinos, Sea Lion Rescue, funded by a small government grant and GoFundMe campaigns. With these two, a little goes a long way. They've disentangled 16 sea lions.
I love sea lions because they are so beautiful, magical, graceful, and I have a connection with them. But they are so easily killed when they are entangled.
She's taking pictures that she will later put in a catalog that we have, where we documenting how many animals have entanglements, how the scars are, and we can start recognizing them and follow their progress in time.
They're creating a medical history of sorts for each wounded animal. Those with the most deeply embedded netting will have priority when capture day comes. The California sea lion is native to the west coast of North America, their territory stretching from Alaska to Mexico. These sleek mammals are easily differentiated from seals by their ear flaps. Most sea creatures push themselves through the water with a tail. Sea lions pull themselves forward with their front flippers, steering with their back end, and swimming in bursts up to 25 miles per hour.
Danny, you're gonna see beautiful fishes around. You're gonna see the sea turtle there.
Danny has been taking scuba diving classes so she can experience the sea lion's aquatic world. Today is her first open water dive.
1, 2, 3.
Even the most thorough survey of a colony can miss sea lions off playing or looking for lunch. Ere and Jess, their veterinary intern, will help spot any entangled animals underwater. Lobos marinos literally means sea wolves, and they will let you know when to back off. But swim with the juveniles or pups, and you'll know why Danny and Ere call them sea dogs.
It's a funny experience to be diving with sea lions for the first time, because although I see them all the time on land and sometimes on the water while I'm snorkeling, it's way different to be scuba diving with them. This is a beautiful place. We had great visibility and we had some sea lions playing around us. It was amazing. Of course, this experience makes me feel like I want to work harder to get those nets off them.
Look, this is what we caught from the coral reef, and as you can see, nets are everywhere.
If you live in La Paz, seafood is always on the menu. Today is Jess's birthday, so fresh ceviche and a cold cerveza are in order. And yes, Ere made sure their lunch was responsibly sourced. But not everyone cares where their fish came from or how it was caught. The abundance of life in the Sea of Cortez is legendary. Spanish sailors joked that there were so many sea turtles here, you could walk from island to island without getting your feet wet. And there were more fish than anyone could dream of catching. Then came the nets, the trawlers, overfishing, regulations, restrictions, and finally, the poachers. Those who would have every last fish, no matter the consequences. Entanglement is a global problem. The world's oceans are full of nets that have broken free, or were simply discarded like garbage. They're called ghost nets, and they ride the currents for hundreds, even thousands of miles, ensnaring everything. An estimated 600,000 whales, dolphins, and pinnipeds are killed in entanglements every year. Danny and Ere have scouted 9 Baja rookeries over the past 2 years. Getting close isn't easy, but they've cataloged dozens of entangled animals. Pups, nursing mothers, 700-pound males. Even here, a 2-hour ride from civilization, there's deadly trash.
We find nets, lines, and rope everywhere. Sometimes we bring back trash bags full of it.
At least once a month, they survey a colony and document entanglements. There are at least 20 on the remote beaches of Santa Margarita Island, 25 in the Bay of La Paz, 5 on the rocky shores of Los Islotes, where the team will focus its capture efforts 2 weeks from now. Jess is a recent graduate of veterinary school and is interning under Danny. Today, she'll learn to use the dart gun. It's more complicated than meets the eye. At $3,000, this Danish-made rifle is kept under lock and key.
So we have already a word.
On land, it has a range of more than 60 yards. On a boat bouncing on the water, the team would rarely shoot more than 15. Instead of gunpowder, it uses a cartridge of high-pressure CO2 to propel the dart.
So we need 3 to 4 bars. 3 to 4 bars, yes. Make sure that your safety is on. Okay.
Setting the pressure correctly to account for the dart's weight and distance to the target is critical. Getting the pressure wrong won't just miss the mark, it could severely injure a sea lion.
So safety is off.
Compared to a bullet, a dart moves very slowly and can easily be blown off course by the wind. It might seem using a dart gun to sedate sea lions is an obvious solution to safely capturing them. It's not. Danny had to prove it to 30 government officials, with a little help from Queen Calafia. This is where they found her, a tourist magnet called Los Islotes, the largest sea lion rookery in the Bay of La Paz, home to hundreds of pinnipeds. Calafia reminded the team of a proud queen from a Spanish novel, swimming around like she owned the place. But she was slowly dying, a piece of monofilament cutting through her neck. Wildlife authorities gave them 1 day to prove they could safely dart her and remove it. This footage is from that mission.
When Sean did the shot, like everybody was holding their breath and it was so stressful.
Yeah, look in the water, under the water, look in the water.
10 minutes after being darted, Calafia is essentially a stumbling drunk, swimming around in a daze but able to surface for a breath. In the past, marine mammals were darted with a single sedative that could put the animal in mortal danger. If a sedated sea lion got past the nets, swam off, and fell asleep, it could easily drown. Some did. But a team from San Francisco's Marine Mammal Center has brought a special sedative, an ingenious cocktail of 3 drugs that doesn't put the animal to sleep. She's netted and transferred to a larger boat for surgery. Calafia is sedated, but reminds them she can still take their fingers off. As skeptical officials look on, the team anesthetizes her. Danny discovers the netting is deeper than it looked. It has cut through the skin, fat, and is into the muscle. Soon it would begin cutting into her windpipe.
The entanglement was very embedded in one side, so we had to cut 3 incisions around the neck to make sure that all the line was gone. Of course, I felt a lot of eyes on me. I had to prove to everyone that I knew what I was doing. And yeah, everybody was looking at me, so it was stressful, but it went great.
In less than an hour, Calafia is free to resume her place on Los Islotes.
She's one of my favorite patients ever.
And there's no doubt others can be saved. The beach of an old fish camp will be the rescue team's home for the next 5 days. An hour from the closest town, these makeshift cabins are still used by fishermen for weeks at a time. Out here, safety first is the motto. They're also 30 minutes from a phone signal and a call for medical help. Tomorrow, the sea lion rescue mission begins. A nearby outfitter has volunteered to store gear, charge batteries, and feed the growing team. It's now a 12-person operation. The Mexican government has loaned the mission boats, park wardens, and a few Marines for extra muscle to chase down and net entangled animals too small to dart. Lunch is prepped, medical supplies inventoried,
Syringes?
and the boats are loaded. Before they can catch any sea lions, they need to build a hospital. This cove is just 10 minutes from the sea lion colony on Los Islotes. It's a natural shelter from the wind and waves, but they must keep an eye on the weather. If it rains, the mountains will funnel a massive amount of runoff down through the camp in minutes and wash them out.
We're going to have 2 boats. That means Sophie needs to be ready to jump from one to the other.
The previous campaigns by Rescate de Lobos Marinos have been led by experts from the Marine Mammal Center in San Francisco. They've been training the team to become self-sufficient here in Mexico. Sophie Garashi is the lead anesthesiologist.
So I have to fill it with isoflurane, which is going to be our anesthetic gas, attach the oxygen tank, and just test the whole machine out before so it's ready to go and get the animal here.
What I'm planning to do is...
Dave Zonheiser is normally the incident commander. This campaign is special. He's turning the reins over to Danny. She's now the jefasa, or big boss, and will make the call on which animals to capture and what methods to use. As the team preps, Ede scouts the colony to identify any entangled sea lions and map their location. She has spotted 2 already, including a newly entangled pup they haven't seen before.
Just a silicone lubricant that ensures that the plunger on the dart works effectively.
A sedative dart is far more complex than the syringes in your doctor's office. These are mechanical devices that must be precision-built on site. Omar, a park warden, is their best shot. A test fire confirms that the rifle and darts are in working order. Their timing is perfect. Ede has returned from scouting Los Islotes.
There is 7 sea lions with the net. There is 1 here with a baby. Then there is Santi, the little one.
Santi is a juvenile and growing so fast, he may not last another season. Timing these campaigns right is important. July and August is breeding season, a definite no-go unless you think getting between a 700-pound male and his lady friends is a good idea. And March through May, females are off limits because they might be pregnant. Sedation and surgery could endanger a gestating pup. The team looks for Santi, but he's gone. They soon spot another familiar face, Frida.
This is actually a pretty decent target. It's a good place to do this, and the conditions are right.
The team prepares 3 sets of drugs. One is the cocktail of 3 sedatives that will go into the dart. The second set can be used to reverse the effects of the sedatives.
The animal, and the third set is emergency drugs should we need them. So we have all 3 of those prepared now before we take the shot.
Even selecting the correct dart needle is critical. If the needle is too short for the animal, it may simply fall out or inject the sedative into fat, making it much less effective. If the needle is too long, it could hit bone instead of just muscle.
All right, I'm going to seat the needle. Everybody have eye gear on? Sometimes when you seat it, you'll get a small dribble of sedative that comes out. So be careful with our eyes and our hands.
In the movies, darting an animal is pretty easy. Not in the real world. The boat makes several approaches so they can assess how close they can get before the sea lion is spooked. Frida doesn't seem to mind much. The animals here see boats nearly every day. They need to be within 10 meters of the target. A laser rangefinder measures how far they are from Frida, and that dictates the pressure settings for the rifle. A perfect shot is in the muscle between the shoulder blades. Omar's placement is good, but there's a problem.
So we had a dart failure, just a malfunction. The dart body separated from the needle, so the needle went into the animal, and the dart body, with the pressure of the rear chamber, the chamber that fires off the sedative, blew it backwards. just like one of those rockets you had with a kid with water and you pump it with air and it shoots off.
They retrieve the dart, but the needle is gone. The team splits up to search for her. Frida has fled to the far end of the island, where the other females like to gather with their pups. And the dart is still stuck in her back.
Okay, that's good.
Then she's fine, she's alert. She didn't got any of the sedatives in. And she let us approach again to 8 meters, which is really good. That means we can try again tomorrow.
Tomorrow she'll be our primary target because now we've intervened. We have an added responsibility to see it through in her part.
The team debriefs and heads back to camp for the night. There are still 7 entangled sea lions on Los Islotes. The next morning, Sophie and Dave review dart placement with Omar. If they get another shot at Frida, they want it to be perfect. The team may be about to catch a lucky break.
Lo más pegado que puedas. Frida is there, in the same spot. Dani, ¿me escuchas? Dani, Frida is in the same spot than yesterday. We have another chance today. And also there is a baby, the baby with the net on almost on the brain. He's in the next rocks. So let's see what we can do today.
The hydrophone is one of the Marine Mammal Center's secrets to success. It can hear this tiny transmitter underwater, up to a half-mile away, to track Frida if she makes another run for it. Time is of the essence. At any moment, she could decide to go for a swim. They inch closer and closer to Frida, and this time, her eyes are on them. Omar waits for the go signal, but Frida is wary and won't turn away. She remembers who stuck that piece of steel in her back yesterday. A bad shot can severely injure or kill an animal. A dart in the abdomen can nick an intestine and cause sepsis, a massive bacterial infection that leads to a slow and painful death. This time, the dart sticks. Frida angrily disappears into the water and takes off like a shot. If all goes well, they should find her floating safely in about 10 minutes when the sedative takes full effect. This is where the transmitter and hydrophone become crucial. But they are getting no signal. Silence. That could be a bit of luck. A silent transmitter may mean she's taken refuge out of the water on the far tip of the island like she did yesterday. If so, she'd be safely flopped down on the rocks in a haze and easy to net. It's been 30 minutes and still no sign of Frida, no ping from the transmitter. Danny must consider a worst-case scenario. If they miscalculated Frida's weight and gave her too much sedative, she could be wandering the open water, too dazed to avoid a speeding boat. Without a working transmitter, it could be impossible to find Frida before dark.
Here, and then one more point over there.
Dave and Danny decide to apply a little math to the problem. They will circle the island about a half-mile out. This quadruples their area of coverage. But still no ping from the transmitter. They make one last stop to complete a full circle of the island. They're beginning to think Frida fled to the sea lion colony at San Rafaelito. That's an hour away, even in a fast boat.
I got it. She's over there. Tell the other boats we got her.
Frida is a mile from the island. It's been 50 minutes, and the sedative is wearing off. She may be impossible to catch. The plan is to surround and disorient her, so one of the boats can get close enough for capture. She keeps diving and popping up where they least expect it. She eludes the team for 20 minutes. Frida is now wide awake, furious, and too heavy to pull into the boat. It's going to be a long ride back to the beach.
So she's safe in the net now, but she's totally awake. So we redose one of the sedation medications. We cannot put her on the boat because she's not sedated enough, so it won't be safe.
Danny didn't want to operate on Frida in the dark. It looks like she'll have no choice. Yesterday's dart is still in her shoulder.
You want me to clear this? May I begin cutting?
Yep. Sophie, can you begin cutting? Yep. See.
Dart needle 1 is out.
The fishing line is so deeply embedded that her skin has begun to grow back over it. It's unlikely she would have survived another season. There's little doubt that Frida can find her way home. Still, the team wants to get her back into the water before it's pitch dark. A whisker and blood samples will be sent to a lab for analysis.
Can I tag?
Yep.
The unique number on Frida's tags will make it easy to identify her in the future.
You have blood samples? Yeah.
Sophie administers a reversal drug that will soon wake her up.
Chenta.
Okay.
Chenta? Chenta. Let's take her down by the ocean.
Getting her into the net was like one of the hardest captures that we ever made. Everybody did a great job. I'm so glad that I have my team.
I'm just pulling up another reversal to give her another dose because she's taking a while to wake up.
Two years now is done. Thank you, Sophie. Yay!
Frida's good fortune may be bad luck for her entangled friends. The team has burned through 2 of their 5 days rescuing her. The morning brings high winds from the north and rough water. If it gets any worse, they'll have to turn back and lose another day.
I am looking for Santi. I saw him yesterday in the same spot with his mom, which is with all the sea lions, and that makes super difficult the capture. But maybe sometimes he's playing around here and resting here, so hopefully we're gonna find him today. Crossing fingers.
It's early, but soon hundreds of tourists will descend on Los Islotes, and they don't always follow the rules. Divers are told to stay at least 30 feet from the island. Danny's boat captains must carefully navigate the field of boulders below and avoid turning scofflaws into fish food.
Está limpio, creo. Mira.
A survey of the island turns up 3 entangled animals, including a juvenile napping at the water's edge.
Allá hay una que tiene una marca, no sé.
Danny consults the team and decides on the low-risk, good probability target, the sleeping sea lion. Pound for pound, a sea lion is much stronger than a human, and this young one doesn't like being manhandled.
Santi!
It is Santi, and he hasn't been sedated.
Just being a good sea lion, doing everything he could to get back to the ocean. They just interrupted that for a little bit of time.
The medical team is already back at the hospital, prepping for their next patient. They have no idea that Santi is in more trouble than meets the eye.
The entanglement on Santi was one of the hardest ones to remove. It was a lot of netting around his neck, a lot of knots that were already embedded in the tissue. So I struggle a bit to get it all off.
And he's growing fast, he's a male too, so the longer we leave that, then the worse the infection would get. And if the infection doesn't kill them, then they can actually cut into the trachea or even into bone.
Danny, she's always explaining things to me, and she's always teaching me. She's like a mentor to me.
When they roll Santi over, they find a surprise, a second entanglement, even deeper. They may have to change his name to Houdini. This young sea lion was entangled in a net twice and somehow escaped both times.
I feel very happy today. I was struggling with the entanglement, but the minute that I knew that I had cut all the knots and he was free, it's such a relief.
Even with a double entanglement, they have him on the beach in less than an hour.
this is my first campaign, well, successful campaign, and I'm so excited.
2 down, 5 to go. Santi was an easy catch, but the next one won't be. Los Islotes is covered with a thick, greasy layer of sea lion droppings. It's like walking on an icy sidewalk that can shred your skin.
Yeah, they got it.
This feisty juvenile is Ariel. The team has been tracking her for more than a year. The net is secured with a rope, an extra safety measure for an unsedated animal. The team gets her to the hospital in under 10 minutes. The entanglement isn't very tight or deep and comes off quickly.
So this is the entanglement material.
They roll her over and discover one final strand deeply embedded in her neck.
We weren't expecting a lot today because of the wind and the waves, and it was like really quick and perfect, everything. Yeah, it was great actually.
Rescuing 2 sea lions in a day is a team best. They're beginning to make up for lost time. It's early afternoon, and most of the colony is taking a siesta. There should be 4 entangled sea lions here somewhere, but the team can't find one. Not even the eagle-eyed boat captains. They search for an hour in vain. And then a speck of color catches Ere's eye. She knows exactly who it is. Pinky. A juvenile named for the netting around his neck. He's napping high on a boulder with a pal. His distance and position put darting out of the question.
Unit will be ready.
The team quickly formulates a plan.
What we're talking about right now is sending 2 people onto the island, going very quietly towards this animal. The animal's quite a ways away from our landing spot, which makes this approach very difficult. We're also going to disturb a couple animals, which may give warning to our target animal. If we're fortunate, though, we'll be able to get close enough to capture the animal with nets.
Dave and one of the park rangers, Raul, will attempt a sneak attack by winding their way behind and through a field of giant boulders and catch Pinky unawares. Danny reminds them to watch their back at all times. The bulls are highly territorial. They stumble upon sea lion remains. The team will retrieve them later. Pinky and his bunkmates don't seem to be alarmed by the ruckus next door. The capture team closes in. Dave catches both sea lions. One slips away, but not Pinky. He's going for a ride. For the past year, they've been referring to Pinky as a he, but that's really just a guess. Males are nearly indistinguishable from females until they are about 5 years old and begin growing a sagittal crest or protruded forehead. Until then, there's only one way to know for sure.
Yes, we are a boy.
His entanglement isn't very deep, but it's made of incredibly strong monofilament line. Pinky is about to hit a growth spurt. The netting would kill him in a matter of months.
Now he will go free.
He'll be back on Los Islotes in half an hour. And if he can avoid nets, Pinky should live another 15 years.
It's a really good day. In the past 2 outings, we've gone with netting on 6 animals, and we've been able to rescue 5. 3 animals that really needed to be disentangled, and they're all doing well. They went through the medical procedure with flying colors. Yeah, quite nice. Best I've ever done this too.
3 rescues in one day is a new record. Danny is proving herself more than capable of leading the team. Two days left, 3 sea lions to rescue.
There is Pinky from yesterday.
Pinky looks good. And Santi is back home too, nursing with his mom.
I love him. He's a bandit, you know? He's a bandit.
Ere will scout the island and look for entanglements. Danny and Sophie have a different mission.
Okay, we're on.
A treasure hunt. Only park rangers and researchers with a permit are allowed on Los Islotes. The Park Service has asked for a video record of what they find and where. Ere soon spots a juvenile with a neck wound.
It's between the rocks, and I am not sure if the entangle is active or not. We need to see what's going on, and the other team too.
There's no shortage of bleached old bones on Los Islotes, but the team knows which ones are valuable: skulls and jaws. There's a wealth of information stored in a sea lion's teeth.
I think so, with the size of that canine, yeah, I think it's an adult.
The canines are virtual time machines. Growth bands can be counted like the rings of a tree to determine age.
Oh, the other one. Awesome.
And by analyzing isotopes in the bands, researchers open a window into the past, revealing what the animal ate and where it hunted. The data even tells a story of how the ecosystem and food web changed during its lifetime. The team heads back to the rendezvous point, but something catches Sophie's eye. This is a long way for a sea lion to climb. Danny wasn't kidding when she said they find nets and fishing line everywhere.
So the line that I removed from Frida a few days ago, it was that thick.
The mission was a success, but the team won't be smiling for long. The boat carrying additional gas is missing in action. It should have been here hours ago. and right now, they don't have enough fuel to get back to La Paz. Until they find some, the campaign is on hold.
So it looks like we must have got some good specimens today. It's an adult female.
While they wait for test results on the teeth, a few things stand out to the trained eye. One was an adult female with a flat forehead. The other has a small sagittal crest, indicating a subadult male. If the female skull is as old as it looks, the data could paint a picture of how the food supply around Los Islotes changed over decades, perhaps centuries. The monofilament pulled from the rocks lives forever.
They both look like they're hand lines for catching snappers, probably.
Fishing is illegal around the island, but poachers sneak in when the Park Service leaves the area. The team has received word that fuel is on the way. Everyone is tired, but the motto is Uno Más.
There's a team setting up the workstation at El Embudo while we go straight to Los Islotes and scout, see how the wind behaves. It looks really windy today, so we will see if we're able to work.
They have 10 hours to rescue one more sea lion and get back to La Paz before nightfall. The Cubana, their biggest and fastest boat, has a problem. Hydraulic fluid is leaking from the steering. It may be fine for 10 days or fail in 10 minutes.
Esta es Esperanza. I see 2 entangled adult females. One of them can be Esperanza.
The moment they approach her, Esperanza disappears into the water. The team gets nowhere fast. Every time they locate an entangled animal, it moves within minutes. The weather is deteriorating rapidly. Danny calls a team meeting and takes stock of their situation. The entangled animals are too elusive. The hydraulic leak is getting worse.
The other thing is that we don't have enough fuel to go back. Ricky was supposed to come get us the fuel. He hasn't showed up yet, but we can definitely not go back with the amount of fuel that we have right now.
And if the water gets any rougher, going home in boats filled with heavy gear will be dangerous.
I'm back with the fuel. Try to come out early, but the weather is getting bad.
We just decided to head back home because way out is really rough and it's only gonna get worse, so the sooner we leave, the better.
The team breaks down the hospital and prepares to head home.
It was a great team effort. So I think they're already set for the future to rescue more animals. So yeah, overall, very, very happy with it.
We were hoping we could leave today with at least one animal catch and disentangle, but I think overall this week was amazing and we accomplished what we came here for.
There are still 4 entangled sea lions on Los Islotes. The team regroups, assesses images of the new entangled animals, and plans their next campaigns. Next stop, Santa Margarita Island. The Mexican Navy provides logistical support. A 2-hour boat ride is followed by a 1-hour hike to one of the most remote beaches in Mexico.
We just found a young female. It has an entangle and the neck looks really bad.
A special operations officer chases down an entangled sea lion, whether the camera crew is ready or not. Danny thought she had seen it all, but anything can happen in an ocean full of trash. This is a new and disturbing type of entanglement, a large rubber gasket. It isn't just cutting, it's strangling her, slowly squeezing her arteries and windpipe shut. They name her Pacifica, their first rescue on the west coast of Baja. It takes a few months,
Let's go to work.
but Ere scrapes together enough money to return to Los Islotes. It is the first full test of Danny and the team on open water. No outside experts for advice or assistance. It's a flawless operation. 5 rescues in 2 days. When they leave the island, there are no documented entanglements. To date, Rescate de Lobos Marinos has not lost a single animal. They've saved 25 sea lions and counting. Pinky, Ariel, Santi,
1, 2, 3.
and Marino are doing well.
I saw Frida. She looks amazing.
The long-suffering sea lion of Los Islotes has a new name. Mom.